I reached the insertion point. Moving in.
Hold fire unless there's no choice. If you go stealthily, you can get the drop on them.
That is a lie. There is no stealth in this game anywhere. It is impossible to get the drop on anything. So the introduction to the final location is two relatively long underwater sections. The first one isn't so bad. Something that needs to be said right away, though, is that no matter how many rocket launchers you see, do not pick them up. You will just end up blowing yourself up, no matter how careful you are. Using the submachine gun and the railgun later when we get it is far more convenient, and you won't die.
Visual on enemy defenses. I've been made.
So yeah, why would GSA put this place so close to IHS territory? Something about that doesn't add up. Unless you've already figured the obvious answer. These little round areas, I don't know what you want to call these little sentry towers, they always have ammo in them. That's really important to remember for the next section. I do believe that using the regular fire is faster than using the alternate fire, even if the alternate fire is more powerful. Simply because the primary fire fires in a constant stream. We can also hide from enemy shots in those sentry towers. The problem with that is that a ghoul can just come right over the tower and shoot down on us and prevent us from leaving. This section can be a bit tough because there are two guys with submachine guns and another ghoul. I thought that maybe my ghoul would protect me, but as you just saw, it died in like 4 seconds. You still want to make a habit of trying to capture ghouls when you can here, because there's a part later in the level where it's necessary. And if you're not used to it, that could spell disaster. The funny thing is that, for the most part, this final location is not all that difficult. There's just a couple specific parts that are rather, unforgiving. The most difficult part in the entire game is here. And I spent well over an hour trying to get it done properly, and it's only like a 2-minute segment. But yes, for most of this level, just be incredibly methodical as always, and you'll probably be fine. If you see me being more daring, that's just because I'm very tired of this game, and I don't recommend that you do the same, because you will die. The underwater turrets are kind of useless. They're a bit more dangerous when they're coupled with other enemies, but by themselves, they're just cannon fodder. I deeply wish this last location offered something incredibly unique or interesting to talk about, because it's the big finale, you know? But we're not really going to see anything here that we haven't seen elsewhere. Alright, so this section can be incredibly difficult if you do not immediately grab the railgun right here. Grab that railgun. Grab it. Hold on to it with your life. And as always, remember there are extra ammunitions inside these sentry towers.
Contact. Claw drone.
You need to use that to refill your railgun ammo. You will run out before the end of this section. Hey, you remember this guy? This is the last time we're ever going to see one. I bet you thought they forgot about him. I sure did. So this section utilizes long hallways full of both walkers and ghoul scouts. It can be pretty tough. Luckily with the railgun it only takes 2 shots to take out a ghoul scout. If you hit them directly, that is. And while previously it only took 2 shots from the railgun to kill a walker, it takes 3 to kill underwater walkers. One of them is right beneath me. The problem with this, if you're a normal person, is that you wouldn't know that there's extra ammunition hidden everywhere, and you would run out about halfway through this section. You don't ever have to look inside the sentry towers anytime in the game, except for here. If you want to try to get through this entire section with your pistol, then be my guest. I've never actually made it through any level with just the pistol. It's awful. Assuming this is a GSA oil rig that IHS is attacking, you have to ask yourself why they would want to do that. What does IHS have to gain from attacking the GSA directly like this? Especially at such a critical point in their operations? The answer is, of course, that the IHS have absolutely no reason to be doing such a thing, at all. But we are here shooting IHS soldiers. So whoever's oil rig this is, they want people in it dead. That's the important part. And Pierce, being an upstanding citizen and all-around good guy, he's gonna stop that. Like I said before, these turrets are useless. I would not recommend trying to shoot them with the railgun, though. They move around too much. The checkpoints in this final location are alternatively very far apart and very close. Sometimes you'll restart right where you left off, and sometimes you'll have to go back to the beginning of a 10-minute segment. Luckily, the most difficult part of the game does have lenient checkpoints, or I might not have finished this at all. There are several points in this game where it's just a few checkpoints away from being unfinishable to me. And that's really sad. Again, I brought this up twice already. But I beat Mindjack. I actually played it twice. And I enjoyed it both times. So there was something deeply wrong with Deep Black. I can assure you that after I finish this recording, I'm planning to never play this game again. Do you hear that, future me? Never again. I don't care how old you are or how you rationalized it. Don't do it. We are thankfully near the end of the underwater sections, at least the ones in the beginning. There is a big finale, so to speak, before we get to the surface. I bet you're never going to guess what it is. I can feel like a heavy weight pressing down on my mind for every second I play this. It just gets heavier and heavier.
Contact on a new type of drone.
Harvester, supply drone.
Aggressive?
Peaceful.
The name of this section we're in right now is Harvesters of Sorrow. You didn't get to see that because you didn't see the loading screen, but that's what it's called. And I'm not sure why. I get that they wanted to have a unique name for every level, and they must have been struggling. I mean, I would be. Oh man, we finally get to go to the surface. It's finally over. That's kind of sad when you're not looking forward to the game's unique mechanics in the underwater sections.
I think the
But yeah, it's over. There's totally not another giant mechanical crab right here. There's totally not another one. It's not... oh god. So like I said, they just entirely give up on giving them any kind of unique gimmicks. And you just strafe around them and shoot at them over and over, and we're skipping this. We're not doing this again. No.
There's a confined space up ahead.
Duly noted.
Pierce? What happened?
Last year, I got a word on some Al Azraq operations. Infiltrated their base, sewer system. Something went wrong. Someone got their wires crossed.
There was an explosion?
Tunnel collapsed on me. Trapped in darkness. Legs busted, communications offline. Couldn't move. Could barely breathe. Started to hallucinate. I lost my mind down there. Rescue team dug me out 2 days later.
I don't know what to say.
Let's go. Those tangos ain't gonna kill themselves.
Access the drilling shaft on the other side of this drone bay.
Copy that, Colonel. Moving through the floodgate.
The scenery here is actually kind of a nice change from all that underwater rocky stuff.
Target acquired.
I prefer it.
Copy that. Firing. Cargo drones. Harvesters.
So from here on out, the rest of this final location kinda easy. Thanks to the railgun. We're gonna be holding on to the railgun for the entire rest of the game from here. You might think because there's so much cover right here that there must be enemies waiting to come out. Surely. But no, that is not the case. It's just a really empty hallway.
More orbital mines.
I like that they bothered to model sparks coming out of the control panel to show you it's broken. To give a genuine explanation as to why you couldn't go that way. I mean, they could have not put a door there at all. Those drones that drop rolling mines are really easy to deal with when you have any kind of weapon with semi-automatic or automatic fire. Like the submachine gun or the commando. When you're stuck with only strong weapons, though, it becomes a problem, because you need to aim more precisely to take out the mines. I didn't pay attention to where this shotgunner was going. It's not like he was a big deal, though.
Got to get to that control room.
There's a bridge.
Activating bridge
Look for a
mechanism.
switch or button.
We've seen this bridge before in the very, very first location. You might have forgotten what it looked like, but I've played this game enough that I know. And I'm gonna make you know too, whether you like it or not.
Weapons free.
You want to stay in this doorway.
Copy that. Weapons free.
There's not a whole lot of cover in that actual room. There are enemies on the other side of the room that will shoot at you while you try to get behind one of the boxes. As I demonstrate very stupidly here. It's a pretty bad idea to try and get behind those boxes for cover. I believe these panels constitute as light cover, so if we wanted to shoot the enemies through them, we could, but I don't pay enough attention most of the time to do that. There are some sections where the game forces you to pay an extreme amount of attention. This is not one of them, so I was completely checked out. Here's another extra area, one of the few we see past the first stage. Just has some ammo in it. That's the only extra there is, though, is ammo. There's no collectibles or anything like I said earlier, and thank goodness for that.
Weapons free.
I like battles where you have the high ground, simply because they're not very common. And having the high ground does give you a huge advantage. If this were a regular third-person shooter, you might completely shrug this off, because it's not a big deal, it's just another normal fight with the angle slightly changed. And this isn't even a game where the height of your character is an important part of the level design. It's just like this because they wanted it to be, it's not part of the game design or anything. But I don't have the luxury of ignoring things like this. I've played through this game like 3 times, and any small amount of solace I can get, I will take. I think right there they were hoping you would just run straight up the steps and get murdered by that turret. I'm not sure if that's actually happened to me. It might have. I do a bit of a dance with this one enemy because for some reason I have a really terrible time shooting him.
Copy. Cleared
Just stop trying. Just stop. Presumably they get like quarterly feedback based on their performance, and also they tell the higher-ups whether stuff is working properly. The stealth operatives aren't working out.
Cyrus, what's your, status?
It's weird. I feel terrific. No anxiety, no tightness in my chest. I guess I must be ready to die.
That's the spirit, Chupacabra. Head up the drilling shaft.
I love it when you talk dirty to me. Moving out.
I really hope that wasn't talking dirty. Please, nobody correct me if it was. Just let me pretend. They start giving you less and less places to hide underwater. This will reach its absolute peak very soon, in what is the hardest section in the game. This is not the hardest section in the game, though. This is actually pretty easy, and I like it.
Take care in pipes.
The propeller's drawing me. I'm trying to use a harpoon to deactivate it. Almost there.
So there are these new sections where Pierce gets smacked against a wall and we have to deactivate the propeller. They look really goofy.
Visual on some kind of sensor along the walls.
Rail-mounted biocams. They activate the alert system if there's an obstruction. You can take them out from a distance.
I'm not sure why they bother telling you that. It's basically just telling you that there are wall turrets.
Stay clear of the propeller.
But we already know this. But this entire level, or section, or whatever you want to call it, it's about constantly moving upward through pipes. And I like it architecturally. There are 2 turrets in this room, and you want to kill them kind of fast before they both start firing at you. They don't deal that much damage, though. This entire section really not difficult at all. It's kind of weird. When I first played through this section, I was expecting him to pull something incredibly difficult just out of nowhere, but that doesn't happen. I don't think you can actually die because of these propellers. I think you can just let Pierce keep hitting his head against the wall over and over, and nothing bad will happen. But yeah, you figure these big rooms you come out in, they would have a ton of enemies waiting for you, but they don't. It's just a few enemies each time. And we're already done, pretty much. So this is perhaps the only place where these spinning mines with sensors are actually difficult, because you're in a really cramped corridor. So even after you turn them off, you still risk them sensing you. They're really close to each other. Yeah, I think that one just blew me up. So there are a ton of enemies up there, but whether they actually appear so that way you can harpoon them, it's pretty hit or miss. So sometimes you just have to run right into it. Like this. And thankfully the AI had a few problems there. We made a mistake back there and we accidentally dropped our railgun for a submachine gun. This happened because we were trying to melee enemies and we pressed circle too fast. Or rather, I pressed circle too fast. The only difficult thing about this encounter is that there is one enemy who will constantly try to move to the right, which will eventually compromise your cover. You can see him slowly inching further and further. Unfortunately, I don't want to stick my head up while the turret is firing, for obvious reasons. So let's go get ourselves that railgun back. Except we don't even have to backtrack as far as you'd think, because there's one sitting right here on a box. Next to some ammo. The railgun is our best friend. I recommend trying to play through this last location all in one sitting. If you stop and come back, it will rip the railgun out of your hands when you load a checkpoint. It'll just say, no, give that back. Wait, what am I saying? Don't play this game. If I make this game look fun, I promise you it's a trick of the light. Like I've said a few times, there are some sections that are genuinely not that bad. But not that bad scattered amongst a sea of, oh god, when will it end, is not good enough. I still don't think this game deserves to be forgotten. There are a ton of things it can teach us about game design. I mean, the wrong way to do it. And there's just a lot to see here in general, it's just worth experiencing, even if it's terrible. It's not even funny terrible. That being said, the reason I'm recording this is so nobody else has to play it. Please don't. I think some of the ambient noises that they used here are from a dryer. Like they put pennies or something in a dryer and recorded that. I say this because I recognize that sound.
Taking fire. Snipers at the other end of the dock.
The game wants us to use a sniper rifle here, but... Railgun. Sniper rifle is inferior to the railgun in every situation imaginable. If you were playing this, you might get nervous. You might see the sniper rifles it leaves for you and think, maybe I should get one of those after all. You don't need one. We will need a sniper rifle much later in the level.
I'm in the control room.
Copy. Fire at will.
We don't want to move from this doorway until everything is dead, pretty much. There's just too many things shooting at us at once. After you kill most of them, you can go take cover, sure. But not until then. They do put another railgun right here in case you missed it somehow. I think this is the last place they put one. There is a turret that will try to shoot us while we climb these steps. You might not know where the fire is coming from while you're trying to climb them. Could be very frustrating, as it was for me. We want to try and kill these guys up here as quickly as possible, because an aerial drone will appear shortly. And if there's still some of them left while the aerial drone's around, we're gonna have a bad time. I can hear it. You can hear its death siren. Here it is. Now the reason it's so bad is because those enemies are so close, and trying to kill this thing before killing them will get you killed. Kill, kill. I said kill a lot of times in that sentence. Look at my camera! Look at my camera and tell me they didn't know that the drone did this. That can't be unintentional. Especially when we get to the boss. the actual boss, as in the final boss. Oh my god, are we only halfway done?
Entering vent system.
Copy. Engaging now.
For what it's worth, they do take you through the entire inside of this facility. The whole damn thing. It can be easy to miss out on that because you're too focused on progress and you don't really care. But they do take you everywhere, even the living quarters eventually.
Copy. Going hot.
I'm a little torn on whether the aerial drones are a good piece of design or not.
Made it to the other side.
Heading down to the water?
Because they're very frustrating. But that might be the whole point. They're supposed to be hard to kill and they're supposed to screw with your camera.
Firing.
And they do both of those things very well.
Copy that. Going hot.
Whoa, he phased through the bars there for a second. I'm not sure you even saw that. That was really strange. So, I compiled a few games that you should be playing instead of this if you ever decide you want to play this. Trigger Man on the PS2. Made Man, also on the PS2, very similar theme. Gabe Newell Simulator on Steam. R.I.P.D. the Game, available on Xbox 360, PS3, and Steam. And I also have a list of games that are much better than this. Mindjack, available on the PS3 and Xbox 360. Inversion, available on the PS3, Xbox 360, and Steam. Dark Void, available on the PS3, Xbox 360, and Steam. Hydrophobia Prophecy, available on the PS3, Xbox 360, and Steam. Hydrophobia Prophecy is actually very similar to this game in a lot of ways, but it is still much better. Believe it or not, Damnation, available on the PS3, Xbox 360, and Steam, is still better than Deep Black. Not because it's less broken, or less bad, but because it has ambition. So if for some reason you want to play this game, please go give any of those games I listed just now a try, because those games are bad, but they have a lot going for them creatively, and I actually recommend that everyone at least see them. You might have noticed there were 2 sniper rifles there. I just wanted to show you both.
What do you know about the webwork, Lieutenant?
Ichthys?
The webwork is the communication system that connects 11 billion people. Now 89% of the global webwork consists of either pornography or extremist propaganda.
Sounds like a bad thing.
Can you imagine what it was like to learn of my creators in that manner?
Yeah, that is heinous.
This is your fault. When you uploaded content from my hard drive to your infranet, you briefly connected me to the global webwork, and all of that bile injected into my mind. If I am insane, it is because of you.
Damn.
I know that you are an ethical man, Pierce. Surrender now, or the innocent civilians on this rig will be executed.
Sterling set you up. This rig doesn't belong to the GSA. It's owned by IHS.
Why would IHS send their own soldiers to take it over?
They're a cleanup crew. They're here to kill all the technicians. They don't want anyone finding out about the operation.
I gotta rescue those hostages. Contact. Armored crab.
So being the incredibly ethical person that we are, when Ichthys threatens to kill someone, we're just gonna keep going anyway. Also, that cutscene, definitely my favorite cutscene in the game, because in case you missed it, the main antagonist went insane because she saw internet pornography. She just couldn't take it. Her poor robot brain just couldn't take it, when she went insane. Never mind that being an AI, she shouldn't care, and if she did care, she should be logical enough to realize that pornography is a completely human thing. And that it doesn't make you evil to watch pornography. Maybe the developers think you are evil if you watch internet pornography. Maybe that's what Bayard is trying to say. Well, shit. What happened just there was I fired too many missiles at once, and I blew myself up.
Hacking gate controls.
Which is a very easy thing to have happen. Here we are at last, the most difficult section in the game. First thing we want to do is take a Ghoul Scout. Use it to take shots for us. Come over here and immediately kill the Amphibious Grenadiers. The Ghoul Scouts spawn infinitely. The Amphibious Grenadiers, however, stay dead. We want to kill them before we do anything else. And as soon as our Ghoul Scout buddy dies, we need to get another one. Those glowing things on the side of the ships are our main objective, but ignore those for now. Right now we need a meat shield. Any meat shield at all will do. There's nowhere to hide in this room, you might have noticed, which is what makes it so difficult. There are a whole ton of enemies and there's nowhere to hide. I get really lucky here. I spent probably combined over 2 hours in this single room. Because, oh my god. We really need to capture one of these. I'll take any of them. Okay, now we need to go turn on those lights on the side of the battleships. For some reason, this is putting charges on the battleships is what we're doing right now. I don't know how we're doing that with a harpoon, but we are. If somehow I make this room look easy, the idea of that hurts me. If this looks easy to you, that hurts me. You are hurting me. And immediately after we set the charges, we only have 1 minute to get to the surface. And if you don't know where to go, well, yeah, you're dead. We need to go in this tiny hole. And on the other side, there are more Ghoul Scouts waiting for us. As much as we want to race to the surface, we need to capture one again. Otherwise, they'll shoot us dead. Now we just lower this bridge. And finally, my nightmare is over. So yeah, we blew up those ships. I'm not sure why we needed to do that exactly. I mean, presumably they have more than that. So earlier we learned that all the IHS soldiers here are just a cleanup crew, and they're here to murder all the scientists and technicians. I think they probably accomplished that already. I haven't seen a single innocent. And Pierce is taking so long. I mean, they have to be dead already. Do you see how many soldiers there are? There's no way there's anyone left alive. Clearly, Ichthus was bluffing. Velvet Assassin, Rogue Trooper, Advent Rising, Defiance, Escape Dead Island. Oh yeah, Quantum Theory, almost forgot about that one. Even its incredibly horrible name that has nothing to do with the concept makes it worse. It's actually not that bad. Please don't play Deep Black.
President Kamori, I've deployed Pierce to the Triton. He's currently attempting to rescue hostages and neutralize IHS personnel.
Fascinating, General, but utterly worthless information.
The point is, while Pierce is keeping the IHS forces busy, I deployed a Karen team to seize the samples of the target, and it's done. They've completed their objective.
When will I receive the delivery?
as soon as we verified its integrity and stability.
Sterling really might want to not play around so much with the GSA. I'm just saying, that seems like a terrible idea. I'm pretty sure the only reason he's not dead...
Attention all IHS operatives. Cancel termination protocols. Take all civilian personnel hostage. Hold them captive until further notice.
Pay close attention to what Ichthus said there.
We intercepted a webwork transmission from Ichthus. Looks like the IHS soldiers are ready to evacuate its core.
Ground teams designating a hostile operator.
Routing a GSA vessel? Should be there soon. Everything finds out.
It really bothers me when the characters talk over each other. That seems like it would be easy to stop from happening.
Roger. Engage.
This is the second to last section. We're almost out of here. Not just this place, but this game. We're almost done.
Engaging target.
There is something of a mini-game up ahead, but it uses mechanics that we're already familiar with. It's actually kind of fun. Probably shouldn't have taken cover right next to that explosive propane tank.
Hostile has been designated high-value target.
Snipers.
So they put that sniper rifle there, of course, because they wanted you to fight the snipers with a sniper rifle. Again, no. The railgun works perfectly fine. Kills them much faster, in fact.
Shooting now.
Using the sniper rifle to take out enemies at close range might seem kind of weird, but it's actually pretty convenient. It does kill them faster than everything else besides the railgun. It also helps that Pierce automatically goes back into cover after he fires. These rooms have nothing in them. There's a turret. The only reason I did that is so I could kill the turret and the stealth operative at the same time, because I like to be a big show-off. It is really easy to get caught by surprise and die there.
Engaging the target.
This is another area they intended as a sniper battle. But after we blow up this tank, we're going to switch back to the railgun, simply because it works easier. It is worth mentioning that the game really doesn't want you to have the railgun at this point. The last railgun placement was quite a while ago, and that's probably because they knew the railgun made this section too easy. If you're a masochist and play through it all in one sitting, though, you get to keep the railgun. Like I did.
Copy that. Going hot.
I think this game upsets me personally more than most, because there were a lot, and I mean a whole lot, of unappreciated third-person shooters during 7th Gen. And I really, really wanted this to be one of them. Especially after Hydrophobia. And I was all hype, and I was all ready for this to be an unappreciated gem, and oh my god. For what it's worth, I really dig the atmosphere of this final level. Sorry, final location. There are many levels.
Roger, firing.
It's very dark. It's very foreboding. It's pretty nice. It makes me feel things. And I'm pretty sure that is what an atmosphere is supposed to do. So good job with that. So what's the second most reused boss fight?
Locking onto target.
What is it? I'm sure you know. I'm sure you know.
Aerial hostiles inbound.
What am I looking at?
Bringing up satellite imaging. Escuta. They sent a chopper drone.
Figures.
It's another chopper drone. This time, though, we don't fight it inside the turret. The railgun actually does a whole ton of damage to it. And this boss fight is incredibly easy thanks to the large amounts of cover all around us. It is, like all the other boss fights, incredibly boring, though. So I'm sure you won't mind if we skip to when it dies. The sniper rifle does almost as much damage to it as the railgun does, which was surprising to me. It shouldn't have been.
Contact. Hostages.
It's got to be a single headshot.
So this time we actually do need to use the sniper rifle. And this is that minigame I was talking about. There are soldiers that run up to the top so they can shoot the hostages. And it's our job to kill them before they can. There are explosive barrels lined along the pathway to make it easier. But it's not too hard to shoot them with the sniper rifle normally either. Even if they do reach the top floor, you have like a whole second to shoot them. It's not that bad. It's actually kind of enjoyable. It's a break in the pacing. A little bit different than everything else. So why are they shooting the hostages when Ichthys specifically told them not to? I suppose she could have ordered them to shoot them while we weren't listening, but we've heard everything else she said so far. Oh yeah, Fracture. Fracture's really good. Had some frame rate issues on the PS3 version. The gameplay, though, really solid. I've heard a few good things about Wet. Haven't played it myself yet. I'm sure it's better than this.
Copy that. Going hot.
So normally the enemies stay back in this area, but for some reason they all decide to run at me. And I was really not expecting that, so it catches me off guard. Normally what you do is you take out the guy on the far right, then switch sides, take out the guy on the far left, and then shoot the turret. But they just ran at me. It's really important that we have railgun ammunition for this next fight because the sniper rifle is not going to help us very much. Man, I really want to play Wet now. Okay, so this battle can be kind of a doozy. There's a whole ton of walkers that slowly approach you, as well as a couple commandos. The guys, I mean, not the gun. We can kill the walkers with the sniper rifle, but it takes forever. This is why we needed the railgun ammunition. Sticking our head out long enough to use the sniper rifle is a good way to get killed. The railgun, though, we just pop out for half a second and they're dead. I approve of that. After we kill these guys, we want to really quickly run to the turret. You don't even know there's a turret, but we want to get to it. You might make the mistake of trying to fight the enemies without the turret because you don't know it exists. I'm telling you it exists to prevent that. It's right over here. There are like 4 waves of these aerial drones, and they take forever to kill because they blind you and they make the screen shake. So guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna skip till they're dead. We're so close. We're so very close. Right down there is how close we are, right over there. That is how close we are, we just need to get there.
contact. Ichthys.
You will not survive my death.
Can you access her processor core?
She's got a 3-part osmium shell. I gotta get through that.
Heard, half heard, in the stillness between two waves of the sea.
I should have brought more explosives. Objective complete, Colonel.
Incorrect, Lieutenant.
What the hell?
You destroyed my processor core. However, I created a backup data core.
That's fine. I'll just have to kill you twice.
I will return. But you have been betrayed. The most powerful person alive, she wants you dead.
Why me?
You nearly sabotaged her plans, but she was able to get her hands on an item, something you did not destroy.
Where are you?
I am aboard an aerial drone, Lieutenant.
Come get some, you bitch.
There's no reason to get like that, Pierce. For some reason, before we actually get to Ichthys, we have to fight a few more normal enemies. It doesn't really add anything, I find. If you don't like the game, you want to hurry up and fight Ichthys so it can be over. And if you do like the game, you want to hurry up and fight Ichthys because you're hype. Now, there are boss fights where the boss summons goons, and you know you're going to fight the boss because you see it. So the goons are not really a big deal. They don't really detract from the drama of the moment. But these goons are just in a hallway. They're nowhere near Ichthys. So they're not a part of the final boss hype. They're completely separate. And yep, that's Ichthys, but before we fight her, we've got to deal with the second toughest room in the game. There are two amphibious grenadiers relatively close to each other. And a drone around the corner that unleashes rolling mines. The sniper rifle is not good for shooting the mines, and neither is the railgun. This is the only room in the game where the railgun is not the best weapon for the situation. We have to be very, very careful. Normally we would have killed the drone by now, but because it's around the corner, that means it can hurt us before we even see it. It's an appropriately hard fight that's not actually hard because it's bad, it's hard because it's designed well. So that's something. The problem here being, again, that we have the railgun. Ideally, we would have the submachine gun or the commando to take out these mines. But we'll make do. It helps when the mines get stuck on things, like how this one gets stuck on that guy's corpse. There is a Gatling gun right next to this drone, but it's completely useless. There's literally no situation past this point where it would be useful. They certainly didn't want you to use it to fight the boss, because that's just a joke. Not the boss. The boss is certainly not a joke. The Gatling gun is the joke. So we have to ascend these stairs and continue down a really long hallway before we can actually fight Ichthys. But we're almost there. Oh yeah, there's a time limit. I forgot to mention that. Time limit's not important at all, though. Not even a little bit.
Colonel, do you read me?
So this time we get inside an Ultra turret, which is much more powerful than the normal turret, hence why I said Ultra. The entire problem with this boss fight, or I shouldn't say problem, the entire design behind this boss fight, is that the smaller aerial drones will shoot at you and stop you from aiming properly while you're trying to kill the big one. Also, there's nothing you can do to defend yourself in this situation. You can't take cover, and getting out of the turret will, you know, kill you instantly. Because there are just so many things shooting at you at once. The big aerial drone that Ichthus is inside can shoot at us as well, and it deals a significant amount of damage. Thankfully, it's only a problem if the other aerial drones are shooting at us at the same time. So just like a while ago, as long as we split our focus, we'll be fine. If you're playing in normal mode, then God help you, because I have no idea how you even got this far. But yes, the sad thing is, this boss is really boring. It is much more boring than even the first boss, or the second boss, or the third, but it's boring. It's incredibly anticlimactic. A lot of games and a lot of movies can be saved by having, like, an incredibly interesting climax, where things suddenly get super tense. This final boss is really a testament to how boring the entire game is. And it's not just boring, it's hard. It's boring and hard, and those are bad things to put together. Deep Black is like having a really well-meaning friend. A guy who wants to do good things and seems well-natured, but is actually a racist. And he accidentally says racist things all the time. He's just a huge asshole, but he doesn't even realize it. That's what Deep Black reminds me of. It was definitely well-intended. Didn't turn out well. Not at all.
Velasco, come in!
LT, can you read me? Come in!
Velasco!
Pierce, I can't believe you're not dead yet.
Me neither.
Can't believe Ichthus has a backup.
Like a suitcase nail bomb. An unpleasant surprise we should have seen coming.
Hello inbound. Should be there in a moment to extract you from the area.
Take your time.
Gotta say, I've had my suspicions about the GSA for a long time. I figure President Gomori engineered this whole operation to take IHS out of play. Nice work, Pierce. You saved the fraggin' day.
Madam President,
General, what's the status of my sample?
by now Pierce is dead, and my men are currently tracking down Velasco. Loose ends tied up.
Loose ends tied up? And the excess bacteria?
It's expensive. Supply and demand. No hard feelings, but this is my payday.
No!
The territory that we now call Gondwana was once under colonial rule by the countries that constitute the GSA. I'm sure that Gondwana would love to bid on this weapon. Revenge is a dish best served at gunpoint.
This conversation is over!
Call my bluff? Fine, you obstinate bitch! No problem, I'll just wait.
Loose ends. Tied up. Madam President, I've got the sample.
Well done, Mason. Wormwood is ours. Initiate Project Golgotha.
So that was Deep Black, and yeah, for all that, it ends on a cliffhanger. It was actually called Deep Black Episode 1 on the Xbox Live Arcade. But, that was that. And I already said pretty much everything I could say about it. I hope you enjoyed experiencing it anyway, even if it's not terribly good.